Welcome to the Serenity Wealth Now Show with Chris Cooper. This is not your typical financial show. As a CPA, licensed insurance agent, and investment advisor, Chris brings the financial conversation to life, where the numbers really matter. Every week, Chris sits down with someone from the community to find the financial lessons hiding in their story. Now, here's your financial friend, Chris Cooper.
What's going on? Happy Sunday. All right, it is summertime and weather is nice, and we are going to spend some time talking music, business ownership, all kinds of great things. I've got in here in the studio with me Danny Liston, musician, Mama's Pride. You may have heard of him from the St. Louis area and all kinds of other pride. If you're older. Oh, no. We all know Mama's Pride and really cool stuff that you've got going on. So welcome, Danny. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to be here.
Well, it's such a small world. I'm just learning all kinds of things about how small the world is. And as we keep talking a little bit off air, I'm like, we got to just start talking on air because there's just so much to talk about. And we're going to start realizing the time's going to fly real fast here. So,
yes.
All right. So one of the things that we were talking a little bit about is, you know, obviously you love music,
right?
You know, how can you not, right? So talk a little bit about how you get into music, because I think that's something that people just don't think about.
Well, you know, it's one of those things you have to figure out how much does it mean to you?
Yeah.
Because there's a heavy price you pay.
Yeah.
You know, the smartest thing anybody did was my brother, Pat. He was the leader of the band.
Uh-huh.
And he knew when we put the band together that we had to leave town.
Uh-huh.
He said, because if we don't leave town, the first time somebody gets, you know, their shirts in a knot, they're going to quit.
Yeah.
He goes, if we move to L.A., because he had been playing out there.
Uh-huh.
He said, if we move to L.A. and you got 2,400 miles to drive by yourself, if you quit.
Yeah.
He goes, it's going to be a long, hard, thought out process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was right. He was right. You know, because we had because we had a band house. You know, we moved out there 1972.
All right. So how old were you at this time?
18.
So got your kids from St. Louis.
Yeah.
South City area?
Dogtown.
Yeah. And said, all right, we got to do this. So we're moving to LA.
Yeah.
So 18 years old, head out to LA.
Yeah.
Going to do this music thing.
Yeah.
All right.
And, I mean, we didn't even have a name for the band yet.
Yeah.
And, but we get out to LA and we rent a house and we live together and just start work. I mean, music was all we did. Our living room was equipment.
Yeah.
You know? And so all we did, and then we started getting into clubs. The biggest shock we ran into out there was if you wanted to make money, you had to play like what was on the radio. We thought, oh, we'll go out there and play Allman Brothers and play stuff, you know, just rock and roll.
Right.
And that was not the case, or at least not in LA.
Okay.
And so we would play clubs that were like they were called after hours clubs.
Uh-huh.
So you go in and you'd play from like 9 to 1. Take an hour break till 2, and then go back and play till 5:30 in the morning.
Holy cow.
Right.
I'm exhausted. Yeah.
Well, but the thing of it is, though, you get so tight. And I don't care what kind of music you're playing. If you're playing together that much, you become a unit.
Yeah.
And, you know, your harmonies get better. Your playing gets better. But that's what I mean. You got to be willing to, you got to be willing to go on the road.
Now, how often were you doing this? These like, is this 4 nights a week or is this?
Oh, no, this is 6 nights a week.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we were playing clubs out there and the clubs out there would book you for 5 or 6 weeks in a row. Like we went to Seattle one time and played at a place called the Beef and Brew. We were there for 16 weeks.
Yeah. Then
we turned around and went to Hawaii for 13 weeks. And so, you know, you've got to be willing. And it was not the ideal situation. It wasn't what we thought we were going to do. And for the first few years, we never did any originals.
Uh-huh.
And
but you were working on originals.
We were working on originals, but the club owners said we don't want to hear them.
Okay.
So we had a chance encounter with Gregg Allman in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, well, you guys do any original stuff? We were like, no, the club owners don't want us to do it. He goes, well, I'll be back here in 10 years to see you playing here in these clubs.
Yeah.
And it was, in other words, you're not going anywhere that you aren't right now.
Right.
If you do what the club owners tell you to do.
Okay.
So we immediately started doing different kinds of material.
And just against their wishes or forcing it in. Yeah.
Well, in the club, the guy that was managing the club, it was called the Point After in Honolulu. He told us, he goes, man, I know what you guys are doing. I get it. I'll buy a record when it comes out. He goes, but I got a dance club.
Yeah.
And we can't have this here.
Yeah.
So we went back to LA, stayed in LA for about 4 more months, and then worked our way back to St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that was the first time you'd met Allman.
Yeah.
But you guys became pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. Years later, like in the late 70s, we were playing a place called the Rec Bar, where he actually got us started. It was called the Marquee years ago.
Okay.
And we had some dates canceled, and Ringo, the gal that owned the place, put us up at her band house, which was an apartment above a tire store. And it was everything you can think of as a band house. Yeah.
This is the stuff you don't think about with this luxurious rock and roll bands, you know.
Play music. It's like, at a price, a severe price. But she goes, come down to the club. I got a surprise for you. And we went down to the club, and there was a sign with, I think it had stenciled letters on it. It said, tonight, Gregg Allman. Because everybody in Florida said they knew Gregg Allman. Yeah. Everybody in Florida and Georgia.
Now, at this point in time, they were pretty big.
Oh, they were already huge.
I was going to say, they're established now.
This was after he had married Cher.
Okay.
So he left her.
Because when you saw him in the Hawaii days,
it was
the beginning kind of a thing.
They had already released the Fillmore East. Dwayne had already passed away. So they've sold 19,000 seats in the auditorium there.
Yeah.
But, so he had a terrible band with him. They were all local guys that he knew. And he wanted to play.
Sure.
And, so she introduced us to him, and she goes, he's going to be doing a tour and he needs a band.
Ah.
Well, we already knew a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
So he goes, I'll meet you at the club tomorrow. He goes, work out Stormy Monday Blues, Statesboro Blues, and Can't Lose What You Never Had. Well, 2 of them we had played so many times, we probably knew them better than he did.
Sure.
And so he came and he's like, you guys got the gig, man. So he flew to St. Louis. And here's the story on my wife. So, Pam was always pretty, her needle was not moved by the music thing.
Yeah.
And so we're rehearsing at my house in Dogtown, but I can't tell anybody, hey, I got Gregg Allman rehearsing in the basement. And so Pam was working at Chinooks at the time. And she's like, I'm not impressed by these people. They put their pants on one leg at a time like everybody else.
I can see Pam saying that.
Oh, yeah. So she comes home and comes walking down the steps, and here's Gregg sitting behind the B3 ARG, and he looks up, he's got that long blonde white hair and blue eyes. He's like, wow, who's this beautiful lady? Pam's like, I'm like, she's not going to tell you. That's my wife. Pam. Hello, Pam. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nice to meet you. And she'll tell you, she was starstruck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But he was a great guy, man.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah. So you guys toured there. How long?
I think it was about 6 months.
Okay.
And we'd come out as Mama's Pride.
Yeah.
The opening act. Then we go off stage, and then we'd come back out as a Gregg Allman band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
No, it was very cool.
Yeah. Now, so you guys had became Mama's Pride then already?
Oh, yeah. We had been Mama's Pride since 1970.
I was going to say. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. We came up with that name on the way out to LA.
On the way out to LA.
Yeah.
So that's when you didn't have a band name, went out to LA and got a band name on the way. This is why you travel.
Right.
You get close.
Yes.
Which is, also very difficult, I'm sure, because there's personalities.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, you're working together.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you have, there were times where you'd trade some fisticuffs.
Yeah.
And then, you get buzzed up and you'd start crying and go, man, I'm sorry, I wouldn't do that to you. I mean, we were as close as any family.
Yeah.
And especially with Max, there was me, my brother, and Max, that our bass player, Dickie Steltenpole, used to call us the Big Three. But we were the ones who basically started it all.
Okay.
And we remained, Max passed away a few years ago, but I mean, we had always been closer than brothers.
Well, you have to be,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. Like everyone's like, oh, well, these musicians do. You spend so much time together. I mean, on the road, and there's a lot of musicians that do very, very well.
Yeah.
But man, it's not an easy life.
No.
And it leads to challenges too.
Yeah.
Just with personalities, and then there's the business aspects of it, right? Now, which part did you think was the hardest? The business aspect, the lifestyle?
I didn't think the lifestyle was that hard. I mean, I enjoyed the time on the road.
Yeah.
I think it's probably much easier when you're younger.
I can imagine.
Because like with me, especially with Max and I, we were about the same age. He was a year older than me. I mean, we basically grew up together on the road.
Yeah.
And, met our wives and had our kids. And I mean, we went through the big stages of life together.
Sure.
I can't imagine going on the road now and getting that close to somebody, because I've already established so much of, who my friends are. And not like I can't make new friends, but,
well, it's just different.
Right.
Our
There's not as much in front of me. Right.
For sure. And it's got to be tough when you're on the road and you got family and things like that, because at the end of the day, you're still a father, still a husband.
Right.
But you also this is what you do for work. And so you got to get out there too.
And it makes it tough because it's not just what you do for work. It's a passion.
Right.
I've heard people go, so would you ever think about retiring? It's like, that doesn't even make sense to a musician.
Right.
It's like, how do you retire from something you love this?
Yeah. What are you going to do? Like it's a hobby too.
Right. Yeah.
Which is great too.
And with what you do, it's like, that's the one thing that's missing. I don't know what it's like nowadays.
Yeah.
But like when we were coming up, to have somebody who could explain the dollars and cents, because that's the other thing. If you want to do it for a living, you better know how to make a living.
Right.
It's a business.
It is. Yeah.
And everybody's out to put their hand in your pocket.
Now, so you guys had a record deal.
Yeah.
Right. You got signed, Atlantic, right?
Correct.
And so do they provide resources for you all, like, attorneys and financial folks to help you kind of figure and understand these things?
We were signed by a guy named Ahmet Erdogan.
Okay.
And he's legendary. And he was extremely good to us.
Yeah.
I think he would have. Our management company, they did provide one, but they all worked for them.
Oh, yeah.
The accountant worked for them. The lawyer worked for them.
Yeah.
So, I was never privy to the meetings, but I would imagine when the cards were cut, it was like house gets the win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it felt like. Like I was telling you earlier, we got $100,000 record deal. Our management company got 50% of it. We got the taxes.
Yeah.
And had no idea we had to pay. You got to pay these things.
And because how old are you?
By that time, I'm probably 2021.
2021.
Right.
Making music.
Right.
Getting a record
lived out of
deal.
a suitcase for 3 years.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have a house. I don't have anything.
Yeah. You're not used to this kind of thing.
Right.
Definitely didn't do anything from that would help you understand how to think, oh, I got to file a tax return.
Right.
Yeah.
What's withholding tax?
Well, yeah, you never had tax. You wouldn't have even had taxes withheld because that requires a W-2.
Right. And we had, now I don't know about my brother. Pat may have
now you're getting
something.
Club cash is probably cash or checks or something like that.
A lot of cash.
Right. So, and who knows if they ever sent in 1099s or whatever.
Probably
they did.
not.
Yeah. Or they probably not. Yeah. I wouldn't think so.
We got paid one time at a gig in Raleigh, North Carolina, or Columbia, South Carolina. And it was, this used to happen to us periodically. They'd go, man, you guys are incredible. You should be playing at that brand new club down the street where everybody's going. And so you'd play these clubs for 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So you're playing to literally no one at this club for 2 weeks. And the guy goes to pay us on the last night. And we wrote a bunch of songs while we were there because there was literally 30 people that came through the door in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And so the guy's paying us like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. 20. And I said, look at that money. It looks like something out of Monopoly. My brother goes, whoa, 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 whoa. He printed it off on a printer, one of those old.
Oh my goodness.
Pat goes, we're not taking that. And he pulls out this Chrome 38 and he goes, the same picture that's on that is the same picture that's on that. And he pointed to a real 20 and then his 20. What's the problem?
Oh,
We're like,
jeez.
there isn't one. Keep counting. Go ahead. So we sent it to the booking agent for his commission. It was like, you stick us in this kind of place, this is your commission.
There you go.
You want to cash it in? You come
Yeah, good luck.
Right. You come talk to him.
Goodness gracious. See, these are the things you don't think about and talk about, right? Yeah, it's not easy.
No.
You know? So you got you have to pay taxes on this because it is all revenue. And if you're not having anything withheld,
they're not happy.
Eventually they come knocking.
Yeah. And they did. The treasury agent, Mary Knipkamp, came by my mother's house. I will never
remember this name.
Well, because she wanted to arrest me. And I said, I'll make an appointment, come down and talk to you guys. So I did.
Yeah.
Well, she was on vacation.
Okay.
So I came down and I'm talking to these guys and they're like, so what can you afford to pay us? I said, I can give you $50 a month. And they were like, well, give us your expenditures. So I give them, I have no receipts. And guy goes, you said you make $400 a month. You got $450 in expenditures. I said, I told you I'm not making any money.
I know, yeah.
So they said, she's going to freak out if she comes back and finds out we cut a deal for $50 a month. Because I don't know, I probably owed a couple of thousand.
Yeah.
I said,
well, the problem is, and that's on paper without thinking about it like the business. Right. Because you probably didn't even owe that.
Right.
If you thought about it and had expenses and all the receipts and everything.
Right.
So
I told them, I said, well, here's how this is going to go then. I'll tell you 100 a month. But if I miss a month because I don't have the money, are you going to come arrest me? Probably. I said, I know I can get you 50. So I would rather go with the safe bet.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. So they signed off on it. When she came back from vacation, she called me and she threatened me. I mean, she threatened me.
Man.
She called me everything but a blue-eyed.
Oh, goodness.
She was hot. She told me, she goes, if you ever miss one payment, I am going to arrest you and make sure you go to jail.
Wow.
Yeah.
And because there's no way you had the receipts from all this stuff too.
No, I mean, I had a bunch of receipts, but I have, you're a kid.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like, this is a business, right? You're bringing in revenue. A record deal is revenue. There's expenses associated with it.
Right.
You're only taxed on the employment side of it, the net of all that, the profit.
We had no idea.
But how would you have known?
No.
Right? And you're not going to keep, QuickBooks was probably not around.
No.
You wouldn't have known about it.
Right.
Even if it was.
No, the closest we came as a friend of ours was an accountant. And he said, keep all your receipts.
Yeah.
Well, for the first 2 weeks, you're, diligent about that. And then it's like, you go to a club and you spend $60 on drinks. You have no thought of going, oh, excuse me, can you give me a receipt for that? It's like, that's not happening.
No, because that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of travel expenditures. All those things count, right? Yep. But somebody's got to tell you that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're not telling the kids that are, musicians that you just have a dream you want to play.
Right.
That's because it's the passion.
That's what a lot of them cash in on.
Yeah.
You don't find, it's like one of my favorite stories was, there's a blues guy, Howlin' Wolf. And he signed with Chess Records, and there was a guy, Muddy Waters, who was on Chess. And Muddy Waters told him, he said, man, how did you, because Howlin' Wolf drove this old pickup truck. And Muddy Waters told him, he says, now that you're on Chess Records, man, he said, they'll buy you a brand new Cadillac. He goes, I don't want a Cadillac. He said, my truck's paid for.
Yeah.
What I want is my royalty. So keep your Cadillac, give me my royalties. And Howlin' Wolf actually had like 401ks for his musicians.
Wow.
He said, you don't drink, you never drug, and you don't drink before you go on stage with me. Once you get off stage, I'll buy you all the drinks you want.
Okay.
But when you're playing with me, you're playing with me.
Right.
And I'll make sure you're taken care of. He's the only guy I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
That had enough sense, but he was a little older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to tell that to an 18, 20-year-old kid.
Well, yeah, 401, what?
Right.
Right? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
right?
Put money away.
Yeah.
Well, I do. I save it up for, drugs or whatever. It's like,
it's a tough business, man.
Yes.
But it is a business and people don't think about that. But the fun thing is though, it is your passion.
right.
And you're playing today,
Yep.
and probably much more for passion these days.
Oh, that's completely it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you learn and you grow up and
I mean, I enjoy making money with it,
yeah.
but if they said you can't make any more money at it, it's like, well, I'd still do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's in the blood.
Yep.
So no retirement there.
No.
Yeah.
No, my mother was a traveling musician. She was on KMOX.
Uh-huh.
And so we were raised in a musical household, so it's in us.
Yeah. Now, so, all right. So talk to us. So you got some cool shows coming up here too.
Yes.
Out in Chesterfield. So
Yep.
August, right?
August 7th.
Okay.
I'm with a group called Anthology. It's an Allman Brother experience.
Yeah.
And there's a group called Ghost Kitchen, who's they do Grateful Dead. When they're not working with us, they do Grateful Dead, Allman Brothers, and Santana.
Okay.
When they play with us, obviously they don't do the Allman Brothers stuff.
Yeah.
But they're on the show with us. Great
Cool.
band. It's kind of a throwback show.
Yeah.
But it should be, and I can brag on the musicians I play with because I just sing, play a little percussion, not much.
Yeah.
I do it so that I have something to do during guitar solos. But the musicians I'm playing with are second to none. They're incredible guys.
Now, how's that amphitheater? I've heard good things from people.
It's great. And now they just did a bunch of upgrades. So I don't know what it's like now. It was great before.
Yeah.
So, I'm really looking forward to it.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully weather looks good. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see. It's still a long ways away. It'll
Yeah.
probably be hot and humid and
Let's
all
hope
the
not.
St. Louis things.
We'll have a freak August 7th.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, all right. So then you also do some other bands too, right?
Well, I've got a new record that's coming out.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
It was produced by Kevin Gangpain, who's the guy from El Monstero
Mm-hmm.
and Hard Promises. But he had a band called Stir back in the day, back in the 90s. They did very well. I never thought we come from two entirely different musical worlds, but it couldn't have been a better combination.
Yeah.
What he did with these songs of mine is he put a different element onto them,
Cool.
because I'm like, I've got a record I released 3 years ago and it's on the contemporary blues charts. It's still on the charts. But it sounds like stuff I've done for a long time.
Yeah.
Where this record with Kevin, it's still me, but there's some really cool elements that he brought to it in ways that he heard these songs.
Nice.
And so he and I didn't have a band, a solo band. And a friend of ours is doing June 27th at Chesterfield Amphitheater it's Clapton Chronicles. It's
Okay.
the night of Eric Clapton. And it's my buddy Jerry Giannopoulos, and he asked me, he goes, "Hey man, why don't you do some of your new stuff and you open the show for us?" So Kevin put together this band with Michael Eisenbeis, and I got Ermini and Tandra who sang with El Monstero, and Mark Hurston on drums, and other guys, a young guitar player, he plays with Dr. Vegas. Man, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so we're going to do a 40-minute set there.
Cool.
We're going to do a couple of Old Mama's Pride things, a couple of things off of Everybody, which is a record that I've already got out, and then a couple of new ones off this record.
So now you get to do your stuff.
Ethan Jones is
All
his
right.
name. There we go.
Nice. See, you just got to not think about it for a
Yeah,
while.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm great at not thinking. Ask my wife.
So and I get to work out with Pam. That's how I know Pam. That's where I think the small worlds are so funny is
Yes.
it's St. Louis. It's this
Yes.
weird small community
Yes.
thing where everyone knows everybody somehow.
Yes.
It's just crazy. So
There's those. St. Louis is like 3 degrees of separation.
it is. It's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Now so you guys, because you were out touring for a while, but you ended up coming back to St. Louis. Now you still tour a lot. You do perform mostly in St. Louis area now?
Yeah. I mean, we do, like with Anthology, we'll go to, like we've got a show the 31st of July in Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah.
We'll go like Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, within 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But nothing. And plus, when you're doing somebody else's music, I don't know how much you can tour.
Sure.
I loved touring. It was like, and that's the way most musicians make money nowadays, because they don't make anything on record.
Right.
With the streaming.
Yeah,
platforms.
it's so different now. I tell my kids this. I'm like, yeah, I used to buy like, records or CDs. I was CDs. We had CDs. I still had tapes and stuff like that, but I never had records. Now my parents had records, but we had the cassette tapes, and then went to the CDs pretty quick. But yeah, my kids don't have any clue about this, right? Like, I still remember the reason I still don't like Apple to this day is because when they would make me pay to upload my own CD into their little cloud thing, whatever the heck it was.
Right.
And I would think on the musician side, it's actually probably even worse.
Well, the problem of it is you can't get like writers' royalties.
Yeah.
There's guys that I know of who've had 2 million downloads, and, they make, $700.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And, it's insane. Now, the good news is one of the drummers from Anthology, Joe Meyer, works at Joe's Records, STL in South County, also works at Vintage Vinyl. But he said young people are actually starting to buy CDs, albums, and cassettes.
Yeah. Really?
He said, but
I've heard records.
A lot of them don't want to do streaming services anymore, because they're like, they'll play what you want them to play initially.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, they start getting away from the stuff that you wanted to hear, and they play the stuff that
they want you to
hear. Right.
Yeah. It's
and so
technology.
they're going back to making their own playlists. He goes, actually, we sold a Walkman in Joe's the other day.
That's kind of cool.
I was like, very good.
That's awesome.
Very good.
Well, I've heard a lot on the album thing. That's kind of a big, more popular thing, and record players are becoming, better technology and all that stuff, and more modernized. So that's kind of cool.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah. Now, all right. So you do the musician thing. You also have your own painting cabinet company as well.
Yeah.
That's obviously you're passionate about that because you care.
Yeah.
But music's really where it is for you.
Well, the thing of it is, I've painted for a long time. When I came off the road, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
It was literally all I knew was music. And so I thought, well, I know how to talk to people. And at the time, I drank, depending on how you looked at it, extremely well or extremely poor. So I thought, well, makes sense. I'll open a bar. And when you have an alcohol addiction, bad idea.
Yes. Fuel on a fire. Yeah.
I've gone out and talked to men's groups. So whatever your addiction is, don't buy a business that centers around that.
Dude,
that's a bad idea.
Fair enough.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got into the bar and restaurant business with my wife, and luckily she never had an issue with this stuff. So she was the sane one. And then we had, it was called Liston's in Dogtown. And then we started a place called Seamus McDaniel's in Dogtown with our old late partner, Jimmy Benacasa. And that's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even with that, luckily we were fortunate enough. We were blessed to have some people, like we had an insurance guy named John Berta who would go, I want to think about this before you do it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You can open up a business. Your business can be successful, and you're walking right into a brick wall because you don't have, there's a scripture in Proverbs that says there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. But a counselor is somebody who knows what they're talking.
Yeah.
You don't want to get, that's that buddy of mine. He's lost everything he's had twice. I'm going to ask him. No, that's not the guy you want to ask advice from.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to, and there's so much, I guess I'm kind of segueing into what you do, but there's so much to be said about being successful, but being wise.
Yeah.
Because you can be successful and be the stupidest guy on the block.
Yeah.
And your success will go up in smoke.
Absolutely.
And usually you only get one shot at it. I mean, like with the band, there's a guy doing a documentary because he's like, you guys had like 3 big moments. And it was like, I said, the only way I can figure it is that God knew if I would have achieved great success back in those days, I'd have never made it. I'd have died.
Yeah.
Something would have killed me. The drugs, the alcohol are circumstance.
Sure.
But to go into something and to truly want to be, because if you don't want to be a success, don't get into it.
Yeah.
You know, people go, I've thought about opening.
I say that a lot of business owners and stuff. You got to go all in to be successful at anything.
Yep.
Really. Right.
Well, it's like I look at when the first restaurant we opened. I mean, we took out a second against our house. We gave this lady $12,000 for a business, which I didn't know till later. She had been offered like $3,000 or $4,000, and we offered her 24 grand.
Oh boy!
And the people that owned the building said, the brother-in-law was an accountant. He goes, "You gave her 24 grand for that business, not for the building, for the business." I said, "Yep." He goes, "Do you have any idea how dumb that was?" I said, "I didn't buy it based on what she did with it." I said, we're buying it based on what we can do.
That's right. Yeah.
And
there you go.
And so that was the precursor, the smaller version to Seamus.
Yeah.
Then when Seamus came around and Jimmy came in on it, it was like we had a better working knowledge. But like I said, we had this insurance man named John Berto, who was a gift.
Yeah.
And guys, we had some people like that helped steer us.
Good.
And then I got sober, which that also helped.
I'm sure.
Yeah. You know, it was like I could
keeps the focus, the clarity. Yeah.
Well, I could remember yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's great. Dan remembers Tuesday. Proud of myself.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to make sure we see you guys. So we've got, where can you get tickets? You have plenty of time still.
Yeah. Chesterfield Amphitheater. I think they've got I don't think it's a Ticketmaster box.
I'll just put the link right here on our show.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's what we'll do.
That.
Yeah. So cool. And then that way we'll get some people there and have a good time, and weather's going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's going to be a freak August 7th.
I love it.
It's going to be like 60 degrees that night.
There's no guarantees in my business, but that's not security, so we can get away with it.
Right. Yeah. You heard it here first.
Danny, thanks for coming in and chatting with me today.
My pleasure,
buddy.
man. Thank you.
Folks, businesses, they come in all shapes, all sizes, and all different kinds of personalities are involved. It is crazy to think about it like that, but rock and roll is a business. And it's tough when you become a musician. You got all this passion, you got all this excitement, you got all this energy. But a lot of these times, they're just these young kids. And these young kids, they don't always get that guidance, that direction, that advice that is so important to figure out what needs to happen. And you're not working great hours, right? Pretty busy, but it's passion, it's excitement, that's energy. That makes a great, successful business owner. It truly, truly does. But you got to have some guidance along the way. You got to have some understanding along the way. You got to bring that passion and turn it into purpose. And sometimes that's not easy to do. It's easier to talk about, hard to execute. And there's just so many cool lessons out there. But ultimately, when you can turn that passion into a business and make it successful, it is something you can be really proud of. But you got to have some of that guidance along the way. You got to have those lessons that you learn along the way because you got to be self-taught. And I think that's something that's important. Business owners, we always teach ourselves things all the time. But you also got to know when you're over your head and figure out, hey, it's time to get some advice. Understand what's going on. But that's what's so cool about what I get to do. I get to talk to all these different people, learn about some cool stories along the way. I mean, what a cool story. We had a rock and roll story, and we find out that rock and roll is really just as much a business as anything else. So make sure you check out Anthology when they're coming right here into Chesterfield here really soon. So check that out. I'm going to include the link right here in this in our podcast episode. So if you don't catch it on the radio station, check us out online, and we'll make sure you get that link so that you can get tickets and have a great, great, great time. And when you're ready to make sure you share your conversation, feel free, give us a call. And until then, follow us on Serenity Wealth Now's social media outlets for more information, insights, and of course, a little fun with finance along the way. We will see you next week.
Serenity Now! Serenity Wealth Now can be found wherever you are at serenitywealthnow.com, on YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and on News Talk STL Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. When you're ready for your own conversation, schedule some time with Chris by visiting serenitywealthnow.com. That's serenitywealthnow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.